Okay, I've got a question for you. Is white coat syndrome for real? Do you know what white coat syndrome is? Well, I do, because I've got it. White coat syndrome is basically when in the presence of a medical professional, or when it would be to your advantage that you get a good blood pressure or a pulse reading, you don't. And I had an experience today that I'm going to kind of document as briefly as I can to let you know white coat syndrome is absolutely for real. Now, okay, I'm a 56-year-old male, and I have 2 term life insurance policies that we're going to be running out in about 3 years. So I said, well, with the economy the way it is, wasn't able to save as much money as I thought I'd be saving over the past 5 or 6 years. So let's get another life insurance policy. Of course, part of that is we have to get the paramedic person to come out, draw blood, height, weight, etc., take blood pressure, take your pulse. So they came out this morning. Now I want to show you something real quickly. I wrote down on this piece of paper my last blood pressure readings prior to today. I'll read those out to you. And by the way, I found out today that the instrument that I was using to take those blood pressure readings actually reads a little high, because when the person came out with the professional sphygmomanometer, whatever you call it, blood pressure cuff, what they were getting was actually lower than what this blood pressure cuff gives. But let me tell you what those readings were. And these were taken over about the past 3 days. I had a 128 over 78, a 124 over 78, a 128 over 82, a 133 over 81, a 127 over 78, 148 over 83, a little high, 136 over 81, 133 over 81, 130 over 81, 131 over 78, 126 over 75. And frankly, you can probably take 8 to 10 points off of both of those numbers. Now, this morning, by the way, when I made the appointment for the medical person to come over this morning, I made that appointment about a week ago, and just for the heck of it, I said, I'm going to take my blood pressure. My blood pressure was like 150 over 93. Now, that's not in these readings because I didn't write it down, but it was like, gee, just thinking about the person coming over here, my blood pressure's going high. So this morning I got up, fasted, did what they asked me to do, drank water, and I did 2 readings. They were a little high. I'm going 135 over 90, 151 over 88. That's not good. So I started getting that little feeling like, oh no, what if the person comes today and everything's fine, but they take my blood pressure and it's high? Well, guess what? That's exactly what happened. I relaxed as much as I could. I play piano. I opened up a Mozart piano sonata and played through a beautiful slow movement of one of Mozart's late sonatas. Felt great. By the way, my pulse readings on all of these are generally in the 70s, sometimes the low 80s. So anyway, I'm going to turn on my blood pressure cuff because I'm going to show you a few readings, because this stores the last 15 readings. Okay, the first reading you're going to see was taken about 5 minutes ago. That's 137 over 91. For my average that I just read here, that's still high. But that was taken about an hour and a half after the person left. My pulse was still kind of high too at 87. Let's go to a reading that was taken about 10 minutes before that. 141 over 87. Pulse, 84, still a little high. You're going to be amazed at what you see in just a second here. 153 over 89. The person, they'd already left, okay? So I was starting to calm down a little bit. 179 over 98. That was right when the paramedical person left, and I put my cuff on real quick. Pulse of 90, 179 over 98. Now, the next reading, I believe, is the one that I took immediately after the person, the woman, took my blood pressure. She got a reading of 155 over 98, I believe. And this was what my cuff gave me. 189 over 115 with a 104 pulse. That was in the presence of the medical professional after she had taken the first blood pressure reading. Okay, now we're 135 over 90. What was that? Well, that was the one I showed you here this morning. 151 over 88. Again, that's the one I showed you this morning. Then we get back into the ones that I was taking before I was even had the least concern over what might take place today. Again, the pulse was a little high, but I've had a sinus infection. Maybe that's got something to do with the pulse, but the BP reading is absolutely fine. That one just a little bit high. So those of you who feel that white coat syndrome is a bunch of hooey, take a look at what you see over the past few days, and then look at that ridiculously high blood pressure taken this morning, 189 over 115. That is absolutely absurd in the context of what my blood pressure has been until I had the professional take that reading this morning. So folks, white coat syndrome, it's real.